Hi guys, I'm Utkarsh. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today what we are going to see is we'll create a small .NET Core API and add Swagger to it. So let's begin. I am using Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition. Let's start with creating a new project. Let's go. I am going to use C Sharp, ASP.NET Core Web Application. Yes, please. Let's name our API as Tiny. Now going to create. Swagger has become fairly popular these days when it comes to APIs. Right, so we have .NET Core, we have ASP.NET Core 3.1 API, configure for HTTPS, and the version is .NET Core 3.1.4 and create. The latest version is .NET Core 3.1.5, but that's just a security patch on top of it. And anyone out there who's looking to use .NET Core, please make sure you use 3.1 plus versions because 3.1 is the only one that is going to get the long-term support till .NET 5 arrives. So let's start here. Fairly simple project, nothing very fancy here. So now what I'm going to do is we have got this weather forecast controllers that are part of the default template. We are going to get rid of them. Let's make this really simple. And this one, these two files, delete. Yes, please delete them permanently. I do not want them. Now, let's create a small new controller. Make sure you select the API controller here and not the MVC controller. Add. Let's call this as test controller. Add. Adding. Oh, come on, add. Visual Studio 2019 is slow. I don't know why, but it is really slow even though I'm running on an i7. Fine, there we have it. Standard test controller, nothing really fancy. So now what we'll do is let's create a get method. Please note that if you're using get methods and you are really a beginner for the APIs, get methods are the only one that you can call on a browser. If you write a post method, you'll have to either use a Swagger page or go via Postman. So we are just going to keep it very simple and use a get. I action result. Let's say give me data and very standard return OK. Here is your data and an exclamation for fun. There we have it. Save. Now let's run this and see what happens. You can see that it is running on localhost 44340/weather forecast. That's because we deleted the weather forecast, but we did not make changes to our launch settings. Fine, fine. Let me get rid of this. And so, what is our controller here? Let me write API. Fine. Slash controller's name is test. And I don't even have to write give me data because it's the default get method. That's what's going to get called. So test, yeah. Here's your data. Simple, straightforward. Now, let's begin with Swagger. Let me close this down. All you need to do is go here, manage your NuGet packages, browse, and the package is ASP.NET Swagger. So that's the one, swashbuckle.asp.NET Core. Go ahead, install this. It's going to say that it's going to install all of these. Fine, happy with it. I accept and let all of them get installed. Okay. So you can see now in install we do have swashbuckle ASP.NET Core, which is all we need. Let me close down the Nugget packages. CSproj, fine. Now I'm not even going to touch the test controller, so let's close this. Now let's go to our program CS. Fairly standard, nothing additional has been added here. Let's go to startup. Now here what I'm going to do is in configure services, I'm just going to add services.add not s swagger gen, fairly simple. Here app use swagger and app use swagger UI. That's it. Well, that's not exactly it, but yeah, for now that's it. Now let's run this. Again, weather forecast. We are going to get rid of that pretty soon. Right. Now, let me write Swagger. So it does load Swagger. You can see that I got the Swagger icon here and it does say Swagger UI, but it doesn't load anything on the page. That's because we haven't written anything inside the Swagger gen. We need to create a Swagger doc, and that Swagger doc will be pulled into the Swagger UI via the JSON. So let me show how that works. Stop Swagger gen, that is fine. Now inside Swagger gen, let's say swag, boom, yeah, swag dot swagger doc. Yes, this is important. So now it says name of my Swagger document that gets generated. So let me call it my doc. That's fine. Now let's just add some more details to our API using the Open API standards. So let me just write new Microsoft Open API models Open API info. Yep, there it is. Okay, this is looking really dirty. Just give me a second, guys. Yeah, there it is. Now, what are the details? Let me add a title. Let's call our API as Tiny API. Let's give this a description. Hey, my own Swagger page. Exclamation for fun. And that's it. Now, even though we have added this, we are not using this anywhere in the Swagger API. So let's go ahead and use this too. So now let me go here in the Swagger UI S. Let's just call it S. And then S dot. What I'm going to do here is Swagger endpoint. So now, bear in mind, whenever we run this, okay, let me go here. Properties, launch settings. Yep. Right, guys. So whenever we run this, it's running on this SSL port 44340. So in our endpoint, where our actual Swagger JSON gets generated or accessed from will be here. So essentially what happens is on runtime, whenever we hit a Swagger page, the Swagger generates a JSON file that contains details of all our endpoints, and this is how we fetch it back and show it on the UI. So you can go and read about it, how it's being used, but this is just the basics, how you add the Swagger to page or an API essentially in this. So since it's an SSL port, it's going to be HTTPS and then local host, then the port number 44340 slash. Now this is where Swagger keeps its JSON. So it's Swagger slash your Swagger document's name. What is your Swagger document's name? My doc. So I'm going to say here my doc slash, I'm going to give it swagger dot json. That's it. And then it's going to ask me another parameter which says the name, the actual description of which swagger you're accessing. So let me just add it here as drop down so that we can see where it goes. Drop down. That's it. That's all we need. Okay. And again, let me run this. Again, weather forecast. We are going to get rid of that. Fine. Swagger. And there you have it. So now look at it here. What did it access to show the details of the endpoints? Localhost, your port number, Swagger, my document, your document name that you created here, and then swagger.json. Hey, my own Swagger page, this is coming from here, and then this drop down which we added here is here, right? And this is your endpoint. Try it out, execute, and you get a very nice response. Here is your data. So guys, this is just a quick overview of how you can add Swagger to your APIs and use them. Okay guys, that's it. No, wait. There's one more thing we wanted to get rid of. The weather forecast, right? If you see here in the launch settings, you see this launch URL which keeps on saying weather forecast. Just replace this with Swagger because we want to open the Swagger page when our API opens. Save, run it. And there you go. It starts from the Swagger and it directly lands you on the Swagger UI page where you can see all your endpoints and you can test them easily as well. That's it for today guys. Thank you so much and I hope you enjoyed it.